The reason why I make so many videos is because I truly want to reinforce reality as they try to paint their stories and the way they want me to be seen as. Listen, I listen to podcasts, they talk about something and they start making me think and try to, they want me to think very rational, like they want me to think in this rational, like just very, in open way. And this try, and then think like retards, you delusional trash. Listen, one thing is clear in this program. Target video, some of you are women and you know that you get deal with sexual torture. This is a common torture. Some of this target video got spiked in regard of like spiking their drinks. They do things that of rape nature that's disgusting. And there's a lot of testimonials of that nature. There's sexual torture of all sorts. And there's a lot of women complaining about it, talking about it, testifying about it. And there's always some kind of sexual torment happening, or a lot of times a high percentage of the testimonials that come from target individuals who are women always revert to some, or most of the time revert to some kind of sexual torture. They sexually harm women commonly. That's not a rare occasion. Commonly, often. It's hard to hear a testimonial of a target individual who's a woman who's not going to address some kind of sexual harm. Now, when I hear these perps trying to negate that and present themselves as the protectors or avengers of women, these opportunist fuckers will not do that. Sometimes they even create things that they're just wanting to just create stories. They've been trying to say we're doing it for this woman, we're doing it for Brittany, for Courtney. I'm like, you will never do that for them. You know why? Because you are involved in something that harm women sexually in a lot of situations. From electrocuting vaginas, from burning vaginas, from like pinpoints, from all kind of disturbing things, from literally raping them. The tortures have been well testified, and these atrocities of that nature, where sexual torture is used in these atrocities. And there's very much testimonials of a lot of female participating in that. So if they think that being perps that are women negate the fact that they're involved in a program that torture women sexually, that's not gonna work. I will not allow myself to be open-minded, thinking if that was this and that, when I'm listening to people who doing that to women and do atrocities to women. Matter of fact, they even negate this torture so they can still paint themselves as these avengers. Never. If you tell me that's that, why are you calling this then that you do to women? I know what you guys are. Courtney or Brittany, whoever you think I'm gonna allow you to say that for, you say that you're doing that for, I will not allow you to do that, because there's too many women who getting raped from their rape level to using this technology to whatever ways to sexually harm them. They literally put they spike these testimonials of being spiked. They poison women. And you want me to let you tell me what me and Brittany or Courtney, what happened there, while you involved in these things where you are negating and blocking and saying this is not real? You fucking delusional trash. I was listening to this podcast and they're talking about this man, I think Sharon Sharp. And there was a whole case and it went civil. The woman was very young. He's much older, which is a first thing. But this man, they had a relationship where they were like kind of like this, like dominate, submissive kind of like scenarios, and it almost like he got close to looking like he was just not all the way consensual in that sense. But it also seemed like the woman was also he took that as an opportunity to make money. But the man who's much older should have known better. Either way, ended up settled with a lot of millions of dollars spent, and the woman is now retired from doing OnlyFans. Now they were having these arguments like, yeah, you can be in a relationship and still having something that's unconsensual that's happening and this and that, and they were trying to make me think of. They started making up some stuff. I was with I dated this perp, by the way. That actually didn't want to break up with me. I'm the one who like pushed it there, but she didn't want. And they're like, no, remember when you two were in bed, and we were being intimate. And so we cuddle, and then the cuddle started like kind of feeling on her, and then she just kind of woke up a little bit from the sleep, and then they turned into something intimate. It was fully consensual. She fully, got to the point where at the end she's like, oh, she said, oh my gosh, you can't jump in like that, and let me be just fully awake or some stuff like that. But she's awake by the time thing became intimate. They try to use that. It's like, yeah, I see, that's not good. It's like, shut up. Let's go back to what they want to have this mental battle about. There's a Courtney, that was date rape. I'm like, shit, okay. I'm not gonna allow trash like you guys involved in this. And they want me to think logical, but because it's like in the morning, the night before that was like that, but then in the morning that shouldn't be, I'm like, okay. Do you think I refuse to even think in this way? The reason why is because they want me to think in this fashion, while these people are calling not real about the torture of this woman. Never. You guys are actually date raping this woman by putting drugs in their drinks. They literally using this technology to harm them, and you're gonna hear that over and over. I am not gonna allow them to think that they can be there avenging. What the fuck are you doing to this woman? What sexual harm are you doing to them? Do you think I think you care about Courtney? No, you just try to use her to paint yourself as this avenger. You piece of shit. These opportunists who are killing women and raping them wants me to think in this way. I'm not gonna assess what me and Courtney did from people who are literally torturing and raping women. They are the rapists. Systematic, professional rapists. Then play the feminist. They just try to hold on to what they can to paint this fantasy. Never. There's a book. There's a chapter in that book that calls out a target individual who talks about being spiked, drug-assisted rape, GHB. Chapter 12. Start off with this. Sexual harm is something they commonly do in this program. I will not allow that. In my brain, they're like, no, but she was they talk about Courtney. I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna. You think I'm gonna talk to you about that? You think I'm going? You guys literally do all this evilness. There's a woman called Katrina. You're gonna hear her testimonial. You heard it many times. This woman woke up in pain, bleeding from everywhere. She even tried at one point to go to get a rape kit, because as a target individual, what happens is healthcare is also compromised. The doctor, who happened to be a woman, by the way, refused to give her a rape kit. This is not a unique story. Sexual harm is commonly happening. When I discovered these testimonials of target individual all around the world, so many of them refer to some kind of rape. We'll talk about rape used as a tool. Like, in those wars, they're using rape as a war tool. Well, it's not war. As a tool to break down target. It's literally done in a systematic manner for the purpose of breaking people down. That's how much of rapists we're talking about here. But then they want to be painted as like the Avengers. Never. You think I'm going to let people involved and knowing they're involved in something where rape or sexual harm is a tool utilized in this program, commonly utilized onto women. And there's a lot of defenseless women in this program. So you think I think you care about Courtney or Brittany? Fuck you. What you're seeing here is Brittany. She's living her best life. I wish I could find Courtney. you listen to this woman begging for, asking for help for all the atrocities, which I'm sure a lot of them are sexual harm happening to them. And by the way, there's a lot of female participating in that. Now, you don't give a fuck about Courtney. If it's date rape, well, then what is it that you guys do to women? I'm not gonna let you call it whatever you, or try to claim that you're doing it for. No, I don't even want to allow myself to think that way, because I'm allowing people who literally do date rape jobs, who spike women, who rape women every day, to make me think in this fashion. Can you imagine professional rapists try to bring up something with women like, yeah, but I remember, and that what was that? Did she? Yeah, was she awake? Was she? If she was, it's like, I'm not gonna allow you to talk about me and Courtney, our interaction, because this is what happened with Courtney. Courtney, I met with her. We met after going out in a nightclub. It was in college. In college, we ended up, being together, intimately, and then in the morning, woke up, and that's where they try to bring it, like, that there was, like, no. It's like, I'm not gonna bring that. I'm not even gonna evaluate that, because this being brought up by people who sexually torture women. Like, they want me to dismiss all the horror thing they do to women, and just focus on Courtney. Fuck out of here. Like, yeah, okay. Like, you want me to now focus on the horrible things you do to women and act like you guys care about Courtney. Fuck you. Listen to what they do.
Is how this is being, in my world, it's called a louche ritual.
One of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape, and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
You feel that you've been injustice?
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of you being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
Well, I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, how do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations. Not 1, but 2. The one physician said, you're mentally sound as a bell. He said, I don't have any idea what's going on with you. When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2970 that if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Buckner, and I have been a
individual for a very long time. The things I have experienced due to being targeted, they have been unreal. But however, I can personally attest that this is very real indeed. My life has been destroyed in every possible way, and every day has been a struggle for me. I'm very grateful to be before you today due to Amy Anderson's due diligence and to everyone else involved. I thank you, council members, for giving us targeted individuals a chance to speak and to be heard. And I pray that these atrocities will soon be brought to an end. But we need your help. Thank you.
Did this to me, I truly just speculate. Gang stalking and harassment was used to implement this non-consensual biotechnology application that is being used on me. I now experience involuntary limb movements. I receive stingings. I get pains to my head, to my abdomen, to my vaginal area, and to my anal area. I am receiving
many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also experience what is referred to as malo anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth.
And like drank a couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours because the private parts of my body were being burned and my breasts are removed.
My room, or had been in my room. Food was missing. The next night, I believe it was with all
Heated, and that is the absolute truth. And
went to bed. I had all, and they had relatively high floor, and they had all of a sudden I had been there like 4 or 5 days, and the night before I was attacked really bad, I noticed a maintenance man about 10 or 11 o'clock at night messing with all of the lights up and down the hallway. And as I'm sorry, I get kind of upset when I think about this because it's really messed up. And my spidey sense went off, and I was really kind of nervous about like what the hell he was doing out there, because he was kind of a sinister, he was real creepy kind of person. So the next night, I believe it was a Friday night, I went to bed. I had all of the doors, all the locks on the door, even the the one that kind of like goes over that you can't open from the outside. I had everything locked up. Figured I was safe. I went to bed maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, bleeding out of every hole, sick. Someone was in my room, or had been in my room. Food was missing. My dogs were traumatized. I had been obviously sexually assaulted in all the worst ways possible. I got up, first thing I did was vomit. And all I wanted to do was I was just in shock. There was a do not disturb sign on my door, and I didn't do this. And there was lotion all over my bathroom floor. All I wanted to do was just get on a plane and get the hell away from everybody. And I was, very, very sick and in a lot of pain. I had already been denied a rape kit when I owned my house, and woke up, and my hair had obviously been pulled out and there were earplugs in my bed. And I felt like someone had done something. I went to Palos Community Hospital under the directions of a non-compromised police officer who told me that if anything happened to go right to the hospital. So I did. And I had a compromised doctor who treated me like a third-rate citizen and said she would give me an STD test and a drug test. But she refused me a rape kit. And so I had already been kind of traumatized with hospitals anyway, and honestly just wanted to leave. So I stayed in my room until about checkout. And then when I was downstairs waiting for my cab to come, relatively high floor, relatively
movements and phantom touch sensations doing rubbing sensations.
Truly shot in the face, sound like an angry ass old person, then a couple of days later a female said the same thing, don't get shot in the face, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on?
Today I'm actually dealing with something that's like it's different than the burning the private parts of my body. It feels like somebody is trying to literally cut the inside of my body, of my vagina, and I'm bleeding, and it's like bright red blood, and it's extremely painful.
Justices, and to see how I may have taken the bait of what I think is one of the biggest psyops that's ever crossed our paths collectively, which is feminism, and specifically the recent wave. And that's not to say that it does not hold space for some very, very important energies of pain and intergenerational grief. But it's to recognize how this is being, in my world, it's called a loosh ritual, right? How this is literally being harvested energetically, the emotional currency of the victim consciousness that is held by so many women right now in their righteousness, in their entitled anger, is actually being used and leveraged for a specific agenda, right? And
one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and
right,
especially violating for women.